Okay, smartass, you just made this personal, so let's just go through your points one by one, shall we? First of all, a basic understanding of the public domain would tell you that if you have the short, and something is in the short that is now public domain, then the public domain short, it's in the public domain, right? Basic understanding. We're all on the same page there, right? Okay, knowing that, let's go through your points. Your first point is that the real problem would be if they forgot the hat. This was under a post about someone saying that you need to wear the gloves, which I'll get to later, and you're saying that if someone were to forget the Steamboat Willie hat, then that would, not give them any legal protection from using Mickey Mouse. That's not true. It's not true. Sure, the part that everyone knows from the short is the bit where he's doing the little whistle thing and he's using the steering wheel and he's got the hat on and he's got no gloves on in this one, right? If this was the whole short, you might have a point. You might have a point, but you don't. So I'm going to tell you why. This whole part of the short is the very beginning. It's less than a minute, and he loses his hat pretty early on. And if you don't believe me, you can go to the original Steamboat Willie page on YouTube and you can look and see that he loses the hat just barely a minute into the short. And there's still 6.5 minutes of him without the hat. The majority of his appearance in the Steamboat Willie short is him without the hat. So no, you don't need to have the hat to have a public domain Mickey Mouse. Your next comment is this. If you draw a cartoon mouse with gloves and no hat, Disney will be on your ass before you can even say cease and desist. We already covered the hat, so let's move on to the gloves, shall we? Yes, it is true that within the short, Mickey does not wear gloves. That is true. And if that was the only portion of this, then you would have a point. But you don't, and I'll tell you why. Because even though Mickey does not wear gloves within the actual short, I want you to take a look at this. This is the title card for the short. It's the very first thing you see. Oh, and what's this? It's Mickey wearing gloves in the public domain short Steamboat Willie. Wow. And sure, he's wearing a slightly different outfit, but that doesn't mean anything. You can mix and match different elements from the public domain. That's part of the whole benefit of the public domain. Little Red Riding Hood can be the wolf. That mixing and matching is a huge part of the public domain. So we've established that using just elements from this short, you can make a Mickey Mouse character that has gloves and no hat, and you can still be perfectly in the clear regarding legality, because that's all in the public domain. Disney will not send you a cease and desist for that, no matter how much they might want to. And even if he wasn't in the public domain, as long as you followed parody and free use laws, you can still do it. People parodied Mickey Mouse on shows like South Park before this all happened, before January 1st, 2024. So, whatever. Let's take a look at your final point, or I guess not final. The comment that this was responding to is the final point, but your third point. Then you'd know that Steamboat Willie is Steamboat Will. It was a public domain and not Mickey Mouse. They are two different characters. No, they're not. This to me just shows that you fundamentally don't understand how old cartoons work. Old cartoons are full of stock characters. That's what the Looney Tunes wore, that's what Mickey Mouse was. He was a stock character to be put in different situations. Steamboat Willie may or may not be the name of the character in the short, but what it is, for sure, is the name of the short. The name of the character is Mickey Mouse. As it says, this is a Mickey Mouse sound cartoon. They say Mickey Mouse within the short. This is all public domain. You have no idea what you're talking about. Also, just going back to the comment that this is responding to, you say that Mickey Mouse is protected by copyright claim, which isn't a thing outside of YouTube, okay? That is not... Now that we've got that out of the way, though, let's talk about how Mickey Mouse actually is protected, because that's important knowledge. It's the later versions of Mickey Mouse that are protected by the copyright, which, interestingly enough, does not mean that he has to be in black and white. That's another point. Here's a poster from that time period that's in the public domain that has him with his red pants and yellow gloves. So this version of Mickey Mouse is completely in the public domain. That's fine. It's later versions like this, like with the flesh-colored face and the smaller eyes and the more defined texture, that become more of an issue because these are distinct enough to be their own thing from the original Mickey Mouse cartoon. So this is still protected under the public domain. Like if you wanted to make a Mickey Mouse that looked like this, no bueno. But even then, this would still eventually fall into the public domain. But there is one part of Mickey Mouse that will never fall into public domain because of how trademark law works. Trademark law and copyright law are two different things, technically. They're both intellectual property law, but they're both two different sections of it. Trademark law protects business logos and slogans and other branding. And trademarks never expire. So say, for example, you're talking about McDonald's. Ronald McDonald is a character. Ronald McDonald will eventually fall into public domain, but the golden arches are a logo. They're part of the branding. So the golden arches will never fall into public domain. So that there are different sections of the copyright that will stay protected by copyright and others that will fall into public domain eventually. Mickey is in an interesting place because he's technically both a character and branding. Let me show what I mean. Like, this logo is a logo that represents Disney or other Disney-related properties. This is trademarked, so this will never fall into public domain. You can't use this as a logo now because Mickey Mouse is in the public domain. However, Mickey Mouse, the character, is what's in the public domain. So what this means is that if you want to use Mickey Mouse in the public domain, you have to make it clear that you're not using him to represent the Walt Disney Company. Or if you are, that you're not saying that you are the Walt Disney Company and that you own the character. So like, you can't make merchandise of Mickey Mouse that says from Walt Disney because that is copyright infringement. That's trademark infringement, I should say. Anyway, that is a very basic and very short rundown of trademark law, Steamboat Willie, and Mickey Mouse. But I just wanted to make it because I wrote my final essay about this shit. I wrote my final essay about copyright infringement. So I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on copyright law, but I sure as hell know more than this person because they didn't even know that copyright claims and just copyright infringement were two different things. Anyway, thank you for watching. I make YouTube videos. If you enjoyed this rant, my YouTube link is in my description. So, yeah, don't send hate to this person. I don't know, just be normal. But hopefully this is helpful.